I remember back in 2014, waiting for the PlayStation 4 to come out and seeing stuff like The Evil Within, its live action trailer. I remember seeing that and just being so excited. Seeing the creative talent behind it, the guy who took a big part in Resident Evil 4 and some of the early Resident Evils as well, and Devil May Cry, and the man named Shinji Mikami. I was over the moon that we're going to get something like that. I'd been playing at that point all kinds of horrors, like in preparation almost. And Outlast was a little bit before that. I know some people have looked down on that, but I really did enjoy that when it came out. It was quite new to me. There was a few other things about The Evil Within that excited me at the time. It was the idea of going back to a survival horror sort of world in gameplay style. I'd missed it. Resident Evil had, by this point, gone far down the shitter. We'd had Resident Evil 5 and 6, and I mean, the ridiculous Operation Raccoon City. So it was nice to be seeing something that maybe was going back to the roots of survival horror should be. And then the game came out.
Because apparently right now it's the only one worth playing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mainly because, hold on, we're going to go into this. We're going to go into we're going behind the curtain here into the hardware settings. You can put it at 60, but you can, more importantly than putting it 60, you can disable that fucking stupid letterbox.
Disable the evil letterbox.
Also, because of the letterboxing, this is the most aggressive subtitles I have ever seen in a game.
To me, they're almost cartoonish.
Look at that.
It's a little dry.
You can see the whole screen. You can see it.
This makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge goddamn difference.
It looks way better.
Yeah, this game looks a million fucking times better without the letterbox.
Yeah.
What is with Mikami's hard-on for letterboxing? Wow. Wow. Oh,
Why is there the letterbox?
No, because the cutscenes are all like that.
That sucks.
Yeah. Look, the cutscene's happening. You can tell it's a cutscene. Because the fucking letterboxing goes absolutely nuts.
Hey, it's time for cutscene.
The Evil Within 1 is a pretty tightly crafted survival horror experience, for the most part at least. I know a lot of people don't like the stealth, which I will agree with. The stealth, it was very hard pushed in the first sort of third to half of the game, and then kind of dropped as the game went on. But like, the balancing doesn't change for the most part, so you should still probably be sneaking, but the game expects you not to, because sneaking just doesn't seem to work at times for the most part. But leading on from there, like, one of the best things about the Evil Within 1 though that I seem to remember is most of the boss fights you'd come out of, most of the fights as well, you really felt like you'd struggled, that you'd just survived, that you were just on the edge of making it. And that's exhilarating in a survival horror game. You want to feel that feeling that you've just made it by, that the creatures are so dangerous and scary that you just make it by each time, so you're threatening yourself for every time you're going to see them. The Evil Within 2 doesn't have as much of that, but it feels story consistent at this point. Sebastian, the character from the first game, he's been through a lot of this, and like, it's some of the smart things, like even the animation changes between the first game and the second, which I'll go into in a bit. But the second game, Sebastian knows what he's dealing with, so he's a lot more confident in his dealing with these creatures and situations, which you can understand. He's been through this, and the reasoning that he's going behind, the reasoning he's doing this time is much more personal as well. The first time you were just locked in this STEM machine. The second time, he's going in looking for his daughter. He's there for a reason.
Son of a bitch! My beautiful obscura.
The reason we're going to call this the Aliens effect is the way that Alien is in retrospective to Aliens. They're both fantastic movies set in the same universe. I mean, direct sequels to one another. but the tone is completely different. The alien in the first movie is this force of nature. There's still a force of nature in later movies, but there's one of them, and the whole team has to take one of them down. And they don't know what it is, they don't know how to deal with it, but they do. And in this way, the Evil Within, this is the way I tie the Evil Within 1 to that concept. We don't know what we're dealing with in the first one, we don't know what STEM is, we don't know what these monsters are, but the character learns to deal with it as they go on, but they are terrified. Now, we step into Aliens. Ripley is still absolutely terrified to go through with these things, but she is more consistent. She knows that you just need to kill them on sight, no messing around, that's that. It's the same way with the Evil Within 2 to a certain extent. Sebastian goes into STEM again, knowing that he's got to deal with this shit, and he knows that there's going to be monstrosities, there's going to be all sorts, so he's more confident dealing with it this time. It's even things like Ripley and Newt. She's got something more to hold on to, something to protect, and by giving Sebastian his daughter to protect in this one, or to look for, it like I say, it reminds me of Alien and Aliens, the way that the two work in tandem with each other. In a nutshell, I'd like to think the Aliens effect is revisiting a horror from your past and finding the inner strength to overcome it. Like Sebastian does with the visions of Beacon from the first game, and Ripley does with telling the alien to... We'll cut to the clip.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Well, yeah, as you can see there, she wouldn't have done that in the first movie. This is the way that the character develops, and the way the story develops, and the way that the game's tone will have to change if you go with the story element. The world is different now. Sebastian knows about these monsters. It's not the first time he deals with it, and it is shown in even the character animation, which is brilliant in my opinion. In the Evil Within 1, everything Sebastian does seems frantic and quick and like scared the way he does it. The melee attack, he just kind of flings his body weight behind stuff. He still does a bit in Evil Within 2, but in Evil Within 1 you can tell he puts his back into it. I mean, the way that you run and everything he does seems a lot more scared and frantic than it does in Evil Within 2. Sebastian has overcome his demons at times. As if you play the game, the more demons he overcomes as well, as you'll see, but it's quite good character progression. I do enjoy it. It's well done, and like I say, it reminds me of that Aliens effect, of that like Ripley dealt with this thing and it terrified her to her core. She was so scared to deal with these things again, but she's done this, and you're not going to do it to her again. You're not going to do it to me again. I've got the strength to overcome. Now you see, you could expand this to all types of horror. It happens in Resident Evil 7. You start the game terrified and small and endangered, and the more you play, the more confident Ethan becomes. As you become more confident, as you take down more members of the family, as you take down more monsters, you get bigger guns, he starts throwing out one-liners. It's this feeling that horror gives you, this empowerment, as you overcome stuff that you really felt you couldn't deal with before. It's even in the middle of a boss fight, you could say, when it's running at you and you're scared and you don't know what to do, but then you find that moment and you stop yourself and you say, right, what am I doing? How do I beat it? Let's do this. No better is this empowerment shown in the Evil Within 2 than the boss rush section. Further into the game, you end up in the boss fight with Father Theodore, who ends up sort of conjuring 3 of the boss fights from the Evil Within 1. But this time, Sebastian has had enough.
You have a deep well of fear from which to draw. You've seen many horrors, and they still haunt your memories. Remember where this all began. remember Beacon? Yes, you remember it all.
What?
Enough of this shit!
Not this time.
You think this will stop me?
Fuck you.
After chainsawing the sadist in half with his own chainsaw, Sebastian is pulled through to the room with the keeper, which he just decides to like, I'm gonna have you this time, let's fight this out. And that's what you do. You stand your ground and you fight them. You take them down using the skills you've acquired throughout this game, with the weapons you've acquired throughout this game. And then finally, Laura makes her appearance again.
I burned you once, and I'll do it again.
This boss fight is one of the harder boss fights. It's not as hard as the original from the first game, but it is still a good boss fight for the most part. It's a shame that it's redone, but there is quite a good little Easter egg here for the most part. If you've done your due diligence, you'll have gotten the flamethrower at this point. And if you remember from the first game, Laura doesn't like fire too much. You can't skip the puzzle in this room and just flame her down. She is still a one-hit kill, so be careful, but you can just flame her down. And it's that feeling of, I earned this. I went and found this. I remember you were weak to this. Now fucking eat it.
And I'll do it again.
Now, I'm not going to tell you that The Evil Within is good of a game as see something else he's made, like Resident Evil 4 or any other of the Resident Evil titles that he had any hand in. But it is a good sequel to The Evil Within 2. It's probably a better game than The Evil Within 2. If you sat me down and said, what would you rather replay right now, I'd say The Evil Within 2. The story's tighter, the gameplay is better, it looks better. It's just more of an enjoyable experience, and I would recommend it to most, especially if you like horror games, especially if you just like these kind of horror games where it's not as much about the horror, it's the experience that you're going through as well. It's the exploration of the locations, it's the story, it's fun, it's a good world, it's campy, it's silly, and if you take it too seriously, you're not going to have a good time. But I really do think there's plenty to enjoy here. It is a good game. It is better than the first, and it makes me excited for the future where this could go. I hope they go a bit more batshit with it almost, but we'll see. So until then, I think the next thing we're going to be discussing is Fallout 4 and how the crafting system might have ruined the rest of the series. We will see in that discussion, I hope, and we'll see what you say back as well. So until then, I shall see you next time. Bye bye!